I was a bully. I spent my high school years making someone else's life miserable, thinking it was just a phase, something harmless. Years later, I started to feel the weight of what I'd done, haunted by the face of the person I'd hurt. I'm not sure how to start this, honestly. I'm not looking for sympathy or to make excuses. I just need to tell the truth. In high school, I was a bully. I was the bully, the guy everyone whispers about but never confronts. I made someone's life miserable, Sam's life. And I've been haunted by it for years. I remember Sam like it was yesterday. He was quiet, kept to himself, always sketching or reading. He was different from me and my friends. We played sports, hung out with the popular crowd. Sam, he wasn't part of our world, but instead of just ignoring him, I decided he was my target. I remember the things I did to him, tripping him in the hallways, making snide remarks about his clothes, ruining his art projects. I'd push him against lockers just to see him flinch. I laughed at him because it was easy. I justified it as harmless fun, thinking, it's just high school. He'll get over it. But that was a lie, I told myself. I did it to feel powerful, to cover up my own insecurities. I just didn't want anyone to see how weak I really felt. And Sam, he didn't fight back. That made it easy for me to keep going. High school ended, and I moved on. Or at least I thought I did. I went to college, got a job, made new friends. But every now and then, Sam's face would pop into my mind. I'd remember the things I did, the cruel words, the laughter at his expense. It got worse as I grew older. I'd hear people talking about their experiences with bullying, about how it left scars that didn't heal. And each time, Sam's face would come back to haunt me. I started to wonder if I'd left a scar on him that never healed, but I still didn't reach out. I was too afraid of what I might find out. Then one day something shifted. A friend opened up to me about his own experience with bullying. Listening to him describe how it affected his self-esteem, his relationships, even his career. Well, it hit me hard. I couldn't hide from what I'd done anymore. I had to know if Sam had moved on, if he was okay. I found him on social media. It took a while. His profile was quiet, not many posts, but I could tell it was him. My heart was pounding as I wrote that first message. I kept it simple, something like, "Hey Sam, it's Jake from high school. I know it's been years, but I'd like to talk. I need to apologize." I didn't expect a reply. Part of me hoped he'd just ignore it, but he responded. He was willing to meet, and that terrified me because I didn't know what I was walking into. I didn't know if he'd moved on or if he was still carrying the weight of what I'd done. We met at a small cafe. The second he walked in, I knew. He looked right at me, and I saw this sadness in his eyes that I'll never forget. I could tell he hadn't forgotten, that it had stayed with him, probably more than I'd ever realized. I started talking, words spilling out faster than I could control. I told him everything. I admitted I was wrong, that I had no excuses. I told him how I'd carried this guilt for years, how I hated what I'd done to him. I wanted him to know how sorry I was. And then he spoke. Sam looked me in the eyes and told me exactly how my actions affected him. He told me about the years he spent feeling worthless, like he didn't matter. How he stopped sharing his art, stopped trusting people. How it took him years to rebuild his confidence. And even now, he said, some days he still feels that same doubt, that same pain. He didn't yell, didn't try to make me feel worse. He just spoke with this calmness, this sadness that I'll never forget. When he finished, I knew what I'd done couldn't just be fixed with an apology. He told me he didn't need me to feel better. He said he'd made peace with it, but not in a way that erased the scars I'd left on him. I've rebuilt my life, he said, but the scars are still there. And some days, they still hurt. It was like a punch to the gut. I thought I could say sorry and somehow make things right, but he didn't need my apology to move forward. Sam was living with the pain I caused, and I realized there was nothing I could do to take that away. When we left the cafe, I didn't feel lighter. I felt responsible, maybe for the first time. I understood that my actions had lasting effects and there was no undoing them. I couldn't change what I'd done, but I knew I had to do something. So I started volunteering at a local support group for teens who'd been bullied. I began speaking at schools, sharing my story, not to make people feel sorry for me, but to make them see the real cost of bullying. I wanted others to know that a few harmless jokes, a few cruel words, can stick with someone for a lifetime. I'm not sure if this is redemption. I don't know if I'll ever feel like I've fully made up for what I did to Sam. And maybe that's okay. Maybe living with that guilt is part of the price I have to pay. I've accepted that Sam might never forgive me, and I respect that. I just hope that by sharing my story, someone else might think twice before they become a bully, before they say or do something that leaves scars. So that's my story. I was a bully, I hurt someone, and it's a part of me that I'll carry forever. But I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to use my mistakes to help others avoid the same path. If you're watching this and you've hurt someone, reach out. Apologize, but know that it might not be enough. And that's okay. Just don't forget that your words, your actions, they matter. They last.